The National Guard cannot be called up by the president without the consent of the governor.
Aside the long-standing bad blood between President Trump and Nancy Pelosi, a lot of Americans are now questioning the ties between Nancy Pelosi, the Democrats, and the ongoing anti-ICE riots. A lot truly isn't adding up. Hear Nancy Pelosi speak.
Thank you, Congressman Gomez, for putting this letter together and bringing us together this morning. I listened in traffic. Mind you, for what they had planned for the weekend, they had blocked off a whole lane of traffic. So it took what takes 8 minutes took a half an hour to get here. Happy birthday to you too. But in any event, thank you. And I could hear by my staff's phone what others have said, and I associate myself with their remarks. Here's the thing. The president has said he can't send in the guard without the governor's agreement, permission. The president has said, I don't know if I have to obey the Constitution. I hope the president would read Article 10 of the Constitution, and I urge all of you to do that as well, because Section 12046 of Article 10 says that the National Guard cannot be called up by the president without the consent of the governor. So that is the basis under which he's proceeding. That is the basis on which the governor of California is suing. Really, I think it's really important for people to know how this came to be. Raids that they were holding, situations where if your case is not settled, if you're still out there and haven't had a resolution of your status, you have to, by law, report in on a regular basis. You are obeying the law, and now they are deporting people for obeying the law.
A quick one here. Did you hear Nancy Pelosi just talk about obeying the law? This is ridiculous to say the least. Nancy Pelosi, under normal circumstances, should be the least individual to talk about upholding the law, but let's put that aside. But you know what's most crazy? Would any of those Democrats and even Nancy Pelosi herself, be comfortable living as a next-door neighbor to an illegal immigrant? The answer is a huge no.
So, as others have said, it's a distraction. It's really stupid, because we understand that we are a nation of immigrants. We want people to have a facilitation of their status. We do not want any violent protest, and that would be addressed for those who are acting violently. I do want to say two more things. One is, and I say this as a former party chair, when there is a large gathering of people, the anarchists see it as an opportunity and they move in. So always have to be careful whether you see a burned car or broken window or whatever it is. It may be the exuberance of the moment, but it may be the anarchist setting in. I heard one of the former police chiefs of Los Angeles speak about this on Sunday. Secondly, and you know this to be true, and I haven't seen it really reflected so much in the press, in a bipartisan way, on January 6th, with violence against the Constitution, against the Congress, and against the United States Capitol, we begged the President of the United States to send in the National Guard. He would not do it. Not only would he not do it, when law enforcement people were being harmed, some later died, he would not send it in when an instigation that an insurrection that he incited was causing damage to those assigned to protect the Capitol and the Constitution that day, to accept the results of the Electoral College. That day, he didn't do it. He forgave those people. Now his people want to raise money for them, and yet, in a contra-constitutional way, he has sent the National Guard into California. Something is very wrong with this picture. inconsistent in his actions, contrary to his own statement that he couldn't, of a year ago, that he couldn't send anyone in without the governor's consent, any place, and in violation of the Constitution. Thank you again, Mr. Gomez.
Now let's take this a little back. If you read between the lines, you deduce that Nancy Pelosi was clearly defending the burning of patrol cars and other violent acts as exuberance in the moment, without outrightly condemning the arsonists, the looting of shops, and the violence towards law enforcement agents. This is crazy to say the least. Now, this should make anyone question, if these protests have funding from the opposition, as President Trump and Kristi Noem have clearly stated. They're stating now very clearly. Now, President Trump has seen the threat of events, and it's obvious that the National Guard should be called in before these protests escalate. Sadly, chaos seems to be a newfound strategy, to keep the Trump administration startled and unable to carry out its duties. But Donald Trump, as always, has to do the needful. Now, hence the National Guard has been called in. And these guys will keep fighting against it to the very end. But we can trust President Trump is on top of his game, and that's what I love to see. Now, folks, please let me know what you think in the comment section. And please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and turn on your post notification bell. Until our next clip, please keep staying sensible. Peace out, fam.